This video is a continuation of the Qorvex video that I've posted here a week ago. And instead of continuing the talk here, this video serves only as what the title suggests, a true rework proposal. True rework means that this isn't your usual buffs or adjustments disguised as reworks, but an actual rework that rebuilds Qorvex from the ground up. So please give me some time to lay this all out. Okay, in this rework suggestion, let's lay out 4 key aspects that span across Qorvex as a frame first: heat, energy, radiation, and empowerment. These 4 key aspects will be thoroughly applied to each of every corner of Qorvex new kit, keeping what makes Qorvex player hook in the first place, but also elevate it to a new level with new additions that builds around it. His passive is replaced. Enemies primed by radiation status through Qorvex slowly have their defenses melted as the heat intensifies, losing 12.5% of their defenses per second. Each radiation and heat status increases the rate by 2.5 up to 50%. Yes, I know, this is essentially Hydrate's passive but different, though it thematically fits. Radiation is also a form of heat, so when the heat is high enough, melting what is protecting them just make perfect sense. Radiation is a hazard, and should his passive reflects that clearly. Next, KeyunKalel. The ability is capped, but completely repurposed and spread into 2 modes, Pillar mode and Bolt mode, which will be discussed later. Pillar cap is changed and have a share cap of 3, tap cast for Pillar, hold cast for Bolt. In other words, you can go with either 3 pillars, 3 bolts, 2 pillar 1 bolt, 2 bolts 1 pillar. The decision is all yours. Pillar mode now serves as an aggro pulling tool that makes the enemy around base 10 meters of the pillar more likely to path towards it, as they are lured by its deceiving warmth, idling around it. What you need to keep in mind is that the pillar no longer applies radiation status, with both slow and line of sight requirement removed. The pillar also no longer deals any damage or radiation damage on top of the duration shortened to 20 seconds. A KeyunKalel bolt now sets itself on top of Qorvex's head. Enemies around 20 meters and also within its direct sight are struck by a radiating beam, applying 2 radiation status with 2000 base radiation damage. Staggers them briefly and left them vulnerable to additional heat status effect when radiation status is applied on them for the next 10 seconds. The beams fire at a set rate of 1 per second, striking 3 enemies at a time. The beam will prioritize enemies who is the closest around Qorvex, then the enemies under the luring warmth of KeyunKalel. Duration is set to 20 seconds. Additional hit status chance starts at 25% and scale with strength. Subsumable wise, base stats are kept, but empowerment is removed. Empowerment is now tied to a new ability called Overdrive. His second ability is now Crucible Blast. Containment Wall is removed. Crucible Blast retains all of its previous stats, but have the Fuse Crucible augment inbuilt. You can now move freely and roll in a reduced effectiveness. Ability is now channeling instead of a fixed cost, with 15 per second plus 0.5 seconds ramp up. Invulnerability is removed and replaced by a max 80% damage reduction that builds at a rate of 15 per second at base, which is scalable with strength. In terms of the beam, its status chance is unchanged. Radiation scaling on AoE is removed and raised its base damage to 1000, while beam and AoE receives a fixed plus 50% damage increase for every active second. For example, plus 500% when active for 10 seconds. Striking the pillar applies 2 radiation status to enemies within the pillar's radius and spreads the explosion. Now given a new empowerment function, which is again called Overdrive. Third ability is renamed to Diisometric Aura and redesigned. Costs 75 energy. Qorvex exposes his core, bursting out an energy field full of fresh nuclear energy, surrounded by small pieces of concrete plates. Now a moving aura around Qorvex if tap cast, and a static aura if hold cast. Both moving aura and static aura are 20 meters wide and have no line of sight restriction. The buff will immediately be lost on leaving the effect radius for both aura types. Do keep in mind that only one aura can exist at a time. The previous aura will fade away immediately as the new one is casted. The aura now has a durability of 100 instead of being duration based, and its durability will be indicated through its ability icon. Qorvex or any allies who cast an ability within it drains the durability by 10, and it is capped at 10 per second. The aura can be replenished through filling up the space with new nuclear energy through Qorvex abilities by 1 per ability. This 1 per second recharge per ability can only gain from either KeyunKalel or KeyunKalel if they are within the radius of said aura, up to 3 per second. Crucible Blast, Core Overdrive if the lingering field overlaps with the aura. Lastly, the status immunity is now moved to Core Overdrive. As for its new effect, Qorvex and allies within the aura are more efficient with their energy usage as they draw energy through Disometric aura, gaining plus 30% ability efficiency on any ability cast, up to 50% on 167% strength. For each hit and radiation status inflicted to enemies who stands within the aura, Qorvex and his allies replenishes 5 health, which can scale with strength. Empowerment is once again tied to Core Overdrive. Now, his 4th ability. You may have heard me repeat its name for many times at this point. Anyways, Crucible Blast is moved to his 2nd ability. Now it is called Core Overdrive. Qorvex beat his chest violently twice, putting himself into overdrive as the core heats up intensely, leaving a field of intensely burning air around him, scorching anything that comes in contact, and empowers his next ability cast. Qorvex cleanse all status effect on cast and gain full status immunity on top of 75% damage reduction for 15 seconds while the ability receives a matching cooldown. Empower the next ability cast of his for 15 seconds that scales with duration. Keep in mind that this only applies to Qorvex's own abilities, and casting Helminted abilities won't consume the empowerment. Only one empowerment charge can exist at a time, aka casting the ability again while not consuming the charge won't give additional charges. Only 2 abilities can be empowered at the same time. The hit field is 10 meters at base and lasts for 15 seconds. Anything that steps within take 4000 radiation damage per second with a guaranteed status. Enemies within have their defenses melted in twice the normal speed. Empowerment is as follows. For his first ability, all active KeyunKalel gains plus 2 base ability radius for the next 15 seconds. The ability now violently sucks in the energy around the pillar, pulling enemies lured by the pillar towards it at a pulse rate of 1 per second, staggering them. Applies 1 radiation status on each interval. All active KeyunKalel now fires at 1.5 times the fire rate, with its damage double in the meantime. Lastly, the additional hit status effect chance on struck enemy when a radiation status is applied on them is double for the next 15 seconds. If you choose to empower the second ability, Crucible Blast will gain an additional plus 25% damage increase per active second and doubles the speed that its damage reduction buff ramps. AoE Explosion now has a fixed 50% chance of applying a radiation status effect, on top of a 50% chance of additional hit status effect on any enemies with 10 radiation status for the next 15 seconds. If his third ability is Empower, the durability of Disometric Aura is strengthened and allows much stronger energy draw from both Qorvex and allies within, granting additional plus 25% ability efficiency for each ability cast within the aura, plus doubles the healing gain of each radiation and hit status, while draining only 5 durability for each ability casted within the aura for the next 15 seconds. The point of this redesign suggestion is to ensure 1. It keeps the identity of Qorvex mostly intact to strike familiarity into the players while designing a kit that centers around the aforementioned aspect. and still keeping Crucible Blast as the main focus of Qorvex, adding in new powers that complement his main gimmick and strengthens many of his previously lacking aspects. 2. Streamline the design of Qorvex to communicate his team in an efficient manner and ensure consistency within Qorvex kit. 3. Incentivize choice. By allowing the player to choose wisely between the ability they wish to empower, it allows flavor and different expression. Players can shape their playstyle around the ability they want to empower the most, and by purposely allowing 2 abilities to be empowered at the same time, players can also opt to keep the empowerment charge before the next charge comes up, consumes it before casting Core Overdrive again, and gain another charge to empower 1 additional abilities, opening up additional 3 different expressions that is up to the players to explore. So that's the rework proposal. Anything you can think of, feel free to let me know in the comment section. That's all for today. See you all next time. Goodbye.